Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Zora Green. Obviously, I'm pretty new to YouTube. Well, one of the things about me is I'm an extrovert. And it seems like right now, everybody wants to be an introvert. Sadly, I also realize not a lot of people tend to understand extroverts, specifically why they talk so much or talk so loud. Me being an extrovert, I've always had to deal with people telling me to be quiet, people telling me to lower my voice, people telling me not to talk as much, which didn't bother me, just still doesn't bother me because I realize not everybody likes to talk as much as I do or likes to hear talking as much as I do. What bothers me is when I see people ask, why do people talk so much or why do I talk so much? Almost every time without fail, there's at least 10 people who's going to say, it's because they want attention, which isn't really necessarily true. I mean, yeah, the average extrovert does like attention, but just nobody's paying attention to me. I must talk. So I'm going to give you 3 or 4 other reasons, other than the fact that some of us do only want attention, 3 or 4 other reasons why extroverts talk a lot. The first reason definitely is we lack an internal monologue. You know how you're watching a movie and something happens and in your mind you're thinking, oh my god, this is going to be great. Extroverts don't have that. If it's in our head, it's coming out. That's why some extroverts have the reputation of being rude, because when they think something bad about somebody without necessarily thinking about it, it just comes out like, oh my god, their dress is so ugly. And most extroverts are loud without meaning to be, so a person might hear. But that's just extroverts. Extroverts tend to talk during movies and books. I mean, sometimes we do it to get a laugh from the people we're watching it with, but most of the time it is we don't have that internal monologue. So while you would be thinking something in your head, we would be saying it out loud. Like, we'll voice our opinions on random stuff like, oh my god, that looks so good, oh my gosh. Whereas you would be thinking that in your head. Number 2, extroverts do not like silence. See, well, some extroverts have to be the one talking all the time, but most extroverts don't like silence, period. They don't care who is talking. They feel like somebody needs to be talking. So, I mean, if you've ever been in a room with a bunch of extroverts, it's everybody's talking at the same time, everybody's talking over each other, everybody's laughing. So when we go with the introverts, we don't realize that you do have some periods in the conversation where everyone's literally sitting there and not saying anything. That bothers us, and we don't understand that does not bother everyone else. So when it gets really quiet, we're just waiting for someone else to say something, and since no one says anything, we say something. But instead of joining in the conversation, because the introverts want to be quiet, we try to keep the conversation up, nobody else is talking. Then we either awkwardly fade out after we finally get that message, or somebody flat out tells us to shut up. Or you might have that nice person who does it and then we just be quiet, all weird. Reason number 3, I think, is extroverts do not have very good control over their emotions. I mean, they may not necessarily be emotional wrecks, but compared to the average person, extroverts aren't in very much control of their emotions. They are also easily influenced by other people's emotions. So if we have no reason to be super angry, super happy, then we'll just pick up on somebody else who's feeling a strong emotion. But when extroverts get super excited, we kind of let loose. So example, you're talking about donuts. Extroverts thinks donuts, and they're like, oh my gosh, donuts are so good. They think about the best place that sells donuts, Krispy Kreme. They think about the one time that them and their friends went to Krispy Kreme. Then they think about a really funny story about the time when them and their friends went to Krispy Kreme. When I say they, I mean we. All that happens in like half a second. So that pops up in our head. Like I said, we don't have internal monologue. Boom. Then we start telling you the whole story. We get really excited. We start telling you the whole story. Then we tell you a story that's connected to that and that and that, because it's just natural to us. And we keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Then we realize, oh my gosh, I just cut somebody off. And then you feel super embarrassed. So, yeah, that's definitely a thing. One of the things is extroverts don't have that little voice that tells them, hey, you need to tone down a little bit. We don't have that. So unless somebody flat out tells us or hints at it very strongly, we're not going to get the message that we need to tone down. I mean, we may not necessarily be looking for attention, but when people start staring at us, that's not cue for us to shut up. It really is not. I mean, we like, they can look, they cannot look, we really don't care. So, I don't know how much this video has helped any of you extroverts who are wondering why you talk too much or talk too loud. It's taken me almost 16 years to try and figure this out. But that's how I figured it out. I don't know how to help you deal with people who talk too much or talk too loud. That's kind of up to you. I want to say, if you have a close friend who talks a lot, you can take them aside and say, hey, I don't mind when you talk a lot, but other people seem to get a little bit irritated, or just be as nice as you can about it and say, you know, sometimes when you start talking too much, it might clear my throat. That might be a thing for you to kind of wrap your story up and let somebody else talk. Aside, if you have to remind them out in public, be as discreet and nice about it as possible, because nobody likes to be told to shut up. That's my humble opinion. I actually have a bigger problem talking a lot than you think. This video I'm looking at here is like 13 minutes long. I gotta go back and cut some stuff out of it where I just started running my mouth. But somebody being loud, you see somebody talking a lot, don't automatically assume it's just because they're trying to get attention, because that's not necessarily the case. And hopefully this will help you. Sadly, I don't think I have any said cure for not talking as much. If I find something out, I'll be sure to let you know. If you have an idea, let me know in the comments below. If this video helped you, or if you like my hair, then subscribe. Alright? Have a nice day, YouTube.